voicing for my experience with a religious interpreter. Hello. I saw one vlog recently called Mish about a religious interpreter that refused to interpret and she stopped. I was shocked. So I have one story to share with you. This happened probably 20 years ago. I was a student at NTID in Rochester, New York. One of the teachers asked me to sit in on a class as a speaker for their interpreting class. It was a voicing class. They wanted to practice voicing, so I would be signing and the ASL students would voice for me. So I went in, and all the students were in a big U shape. And the teacher said, go ahead. Oh, the teacher was really cool. That teacher's name was Jane, but I'm going to tell a little bit about her in a minute. I want to talk about the students first. So they were sitting around me and I was signing, talking about different topics, my life, growing up, my childhood, camp, how I make new friends, just anything in general. And each student was taking a turn in voicing. Until one student was sitting there, and when it got to her turn, nothing happened. They would just keep continuing to sign and switch turn until that student, it was her turn, and she stopped and raised her hand and said, "Excuse me." I was like, "Okay, what's wrong?" She said, "I'm a Christian, and please don't use profanity." I was shocked for her to say that to me. The teacher was also shocked, and she looked at me, and so, I said, "Okay." And, I just continued to sign. And the teacher said, "Well, go on and voice for him. Go ahead, voice." The students started to voice and put things together. And I started signing really fast and kept using cuss words and just put him every sentence I could get him into my stories. And I was just, using profanity. And she was really bothered and taken aback by that. But I just acted like it was no big thing. And then when it was the next person's turn, I slowed down a little bit. And, everybody finished the class just fine. And at the end of the class, everybody left. The teacher came up to me and apologized, and said, "I'm sorry that student stopped you." And I said, "You know what? It's okay. She needs to learn that that's part of the job, that she needs to keep her religion separate from the job. She'll accept that." So it's ironic because Jane herself is a strong Christian. I know her, and, I know her in the community, and she goes to church all the time. But still, she kept her role as a teacher different. She drew the line between her religion and her job. So then maybe 5 years later, I ran into the interpreting student. And I always remember faces and specific events, and so I remembered her. And, I said hi, and we were chatting, and, she said, "Hey, I want to go back first. I really need to apologize." I said, "What for?" She said, "Remember in voicing class? And I stopped you? I'm really sorry. I should not have done that. That was my fault." I was really surprised. I said, "Why?" And she said, "Oh man, in the world of interpreting, it is tough out there. And I realized that I need to keep my religion separate from my job." And I was like, wow, thanks. For her to accept that she was wrong and say that, I really applaud her for that. So that's my story.